Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. Ghost hunting expert Stephen Lancaster leads a paranormal investigation in an attic that's believed to be haunted. Voices and footsteps are said to be heard ever since a previous owner lost their life up here. After setting up paranormal surveillance equipment, Stephen waits for a while and hears scary noises. I definitely heard something in the corner just a few feet away from Steven. Here's what he has to say. I think he's telling the truth, but let me know if you detect any giveaways in his voice.
Somebody was walking around. Somebody whispered something to me.
Listen closely, you might not be hearing things. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains that she was home alone with her daughter, watching a kid's show when she heard an old man clearing his throat and speaking in the background of the video she was filming.
Come on.
Many others in the thread hear the voice too, with Redditor temperamental elements saying it sounds like the man says, "What?" The Redditor asks, do you have any male relatives that have passed? Maybe they're back to see your baby girl. Boss said that the child's great-grandpa had passed away a little over a year ago. Perhaps great-grandpa is reaching out. Should they reach back? The historic Jefferson Hotel is a hotbed for paranormal activity, and this is one of the creepiest pieces of evidence yet. Published by the hotel in March of 2021, a security camera captured this incident in one of the hotel's hallways. In the clip, a guest of the hotel is seen looking for her husband. She asks a couple walking by if they've seen him. As they're talking, a deep guttural growl is heard. They all hear it and jump back. You can see their reaction here.
All jumped back as if something was like yelling at them down the hall. You could see they were all scared.
The couple walks away, while the first guest is left alone with whatever made this noise. The hotel's caretaker says that the male guest seen in this video asked him where the speaker was. The man thought the hotel was in the business of ambiance, so had hidden speakers in the floor to add to the haunting atmosphere. The problem is that he was wrong. After being asked this, the caretaker, knowing there weren't any speakers, pulled up video from a second camera at the end of the hallway in the direction of the growl. This is what he found.
So, did you hear that growl?
The growl sounds very animalistic, almost demonic. Is this one of the many demons that haunt the halls of the Jefferson? Or is someone playing tricks? Everyone knows the woods are a witch's favorite haunt. YouTuber The Ghost Hunter captured this witch on camera at around 11 p.m. First, they hear a terrible scream. They continue to hear these strange noises, and as they carry around a ring of fire, they hear more.
हाँ बिल्कुल इतना सोचते मत से अच्छा चलो इधर आओ पीछे आओ
The strange sounds continue.
आग खत्म होने वाली है हमारी, तो इसके लिए हमें और थोड़ा फास्ट जाना पड़ेगा। चल चल
But they don't see anything.
फिर तो से इधर उधर हमारा लाइट ही बुझ जा रहा है।
हमारे यहाँ पे लाइट कनेक्शन बंद हो जा रहा है ऑटोमेटिकली। हम गाइस कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
It is definitely not an animal.
नहीं रुकने लायक है।
भाई आवाज जरा हद हो गई यार।
But remains out of sight.
उधर कहाँ जा रहा है?
Well, I'm not sure that's a witch. As the channel suggests, I do think they have something paranormal on their hands. A demon, a skinwalker, who knows? All I know is I wouldn't want to hear this in the middle of the woods at night. A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes.
What the f?
All of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the f is everything open? What the f? What the f?
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. Most ghosts don't ask for permission, they just let themselves in. Published in January of 2022, Amitav Paranormal Tech YT writes that during her last live stream, her REM pod activated, so she decided to leave some equipment on during the night. She also left her security cameras on. Here's what they captured. The door of the room swings open, apparently letting no one in. A light to the side on a table then turns on and blinking can be seen throughout the room. What just let itself in? Is it something to be feared? Either way, it definitely wants itself to be known. Behind this bed, there used to be a door. Look closely to the left of the lamp here and you'll see the outline where it was painted over. There's just one problem. Apparently something on the other side doesn't understand that this is no longer a passageway. The knocking sounds polite yet urgent, definitely human. It really does sound like someone who believes that they belong in this room and expects to be let in at any moment. It seems like her problem is not going to go away on its own anytime soon. I really wouldn't want to see what's inside of that wall, but it might be the only way to end the problem for good, or maybe make it way worse. Ever wish you had supernatural powers? Well, this video supposedly shows a Thai girl who discovered she did. When she was driven to anger at a bus stop, the video, shot in Thailand, begins with a girl smack-talking someone as she leaves the bus. She is being held back by a friend who remains quiet. The girl continues to point and exchange some heated words with the driver, who steps down from his post to return fire. Spectators watch from the ground, and others hang out of windows to witness the exchange. The shouting match continues in Thai with plenty of pointing and aggression. Another guy tries to intervene. He shouts at the girl and goes to slap her, but before he can, he is thrown back by a supernatural force. The spectators scream. The origin of this force seems to not be the shouting girl, but her silent friend who stood behind her. The quiet girl then steps forward and points her hand out, palm forward, and the bus driver flies up the side of the bus before dropping to the ground. The girl looks at her hands in amazement, as though this is the first time she's realized she has these scary supernatural powers. Everyone is quiet and staring at the girl. She turns in a circle, puts her hands out again, and a table and chairs fly backward. The bus driver yells at her, and she makes him fly into the air again, and even her friend backed away and won't come near her. The video ends with the girl looking down at her hands, collapsing to the ground, shaking and screaming shrilly, while the footage appears all too real, with no strings attached. Many in the YouTube comments call it out as a fake. YouTuber Pei Pina says, "I'm Thai, and Thai people like to make dramas with superpowers like this." While Jacob Zamet notes, the biggest flaw in this video is the fact that no one else is talking while the argument progresses, letting the main characters in this film be heard as the girl and the guy take turns. He also notes that video cameras or cell phones with video components, and it's unlikely that someone who just levitated would have another go at the person who just did it. All good points. Still a scary and intriguing video. You kind of wish it was real. This tiny humanoid lays on the tile floor, its arms stretched helplessly in front of it, as if it had been crawling to safety before it stopped on its side. When you zoom in really close at 32 seconds, you can see the head is much darker than the body, and it almost looks like it has two eyes and a thin, expressionless line for a mouth. Definitely not the face of a rodent, and definitely not like the face of anything I've seen before. I don't know if this is a shriveled up baby mouse or what. I can almost see a tail behind it, but then again it looks like it could be its legs. It looks more like it walks on 2 legs than 4. If you've ever been in a school at night, you know how creepy the dark, empty halls can be. Well, this school takes the hair standing on end to another level. Published to YouTube by Tubba Rubba in January of 2016. This scary video shows security footage via a video monitor which was captured at the apparently haunted Folk High School in Arkansas. A janitor's cart sits in the entrance of a bathroom. A moment later it starts to move slowly forward. It pauses for a minute and then rolls further, wheeling around the corner before launching fast across the hallway and then turning sharply to enter another room. According to Tubba Rubba, the janitor of the school weighed in on this haunted ordeal. He said that his cart is too heavy to have been pulled by a string. Moreover, no one was caught on camera entering or leaving the bathroom before or after the creepy incident. So I guess we can assume the school bathroom is haunted. By folks' version of Moaning Myrtle, better steer clear before she drowns you in her tears. A mother records her child happily pressing Play-Doh into different shapes, completely unaware that the toy moves twice on its own. The first time is almost unnoticeable, so watch closely.
What are you doing?
Playing Play-Doh.
The second time, however, is much more obvious. I mean, look again and you'll see both of the kids' hands are completely off of the toy when it suddenly somehow moves towards him. This video is one of the few instances where I have absolutely no counterpoint to disprove it, and I can only conclude that what you've witnessed is almost certainly paranormal. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects, because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. This is apparently police dash cam footage from Arizona. The officer is clearly on highway patrol at night, and after a short while, he takes a turn down a dirt road. This is where he spots a woman standing alone in the road with some small embers near her feet. Though it originally appears she is standing with her back turned to the police officer. Soon after, she lifts up her arms, and there appears to be two glowing eyes facing the officer. The footage ends shortly after with no further explanation. I searched but couldn't find any footage of the incident after this part, so we may never know what happened next to this officer or this woman with glowing eyes. If you think of pixies as cute little fairy-like creatures, think again. Published by Erwin Saunders, these pixies apparently turned up at an inconvenient time. Concealed in a portable toilet, Erwin's son is waiting in the thick forest, so he and Erwin can spy these little creatures. The little guys are springing around the moss-covered ground. One of them even climbs atop the portable toilet, while Erwin's son sits inside. Peering out the window, he sees this creature, which looks more like a goblin to me than a pixie. Eventually, the pixies leave, but not without throwing sticks at the tent.
Throwing things at the tent.
Are these the pixies of your imagination, or are they their evil twin brothers? Either way, I'm gonna stay far away from that forest. This paranormal investigation takes place in an abandoned building in Indonesia. I can't tell what is being said, but you don't need words to tell this person is being relentlessly stalked by something not of this world. First they play some kind of song which I think is meant to summon spirits. A short while later, a shadow person peeks around the corner and appears where his thumb is. If somebody could please translate what is being said here, then maybe it could help us piece together what this video is all about. I don't think he noticed anything at first, but this is the exact moment he sees the spirit. Again, please translate if you can, and tell me if you think he sounds sincere or if he is acting.
Itu settingan bukannya. Gimana kalau coba?
The way he turns and bolts without saying a word is very realistic, so I'm inclined to believe this is not a joke. And when he looks again, the ghost is up way high in the left corner.
I think he is losing his mind at this point and he squats in the corner to hide.
He thinks he is safe, but the door opens and closes by itself, and a strange mist floats up towards the knob. He runs away and stops to look around, panting, completely out of breath and scared senseless. This faint moan before the video ends makes me think he did not make it out alive. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay guys, so...
A small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat. Or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. Posted in March of 2020 by YouTuber Steve Ronan, he explores what he describes as an old church that's been around for 100 years, with power still on and with rumors of rituals still being performed there. Accompanied by paranormal investigator Andrew, Steve and his team set out to explore this temple, which Andrew claims holds dark rituals inside. It's no great surprise then that demons supposedly haunt the place. They arrive on the scene of a truly spooky abandoned place at night, a cemetery surrounding it, overgrown with foliage. Inside the place, there's a door that leads beneath it, which reminds Steve of an abandoned place he previously explored with a tomb below. Opening the door, there appears to be firewood and mason jars down there. As they continue to explore, in the temple is that an overhanging light starts swinging. Supposedly no one touched it. They start to hear noises.
Yeah, you were with us.
Did you just hear that?
Bro, hello? Did you guys hear that?
A scream that sounds like a little girl, a sound from the light which Steve describes like a spine cracking.
Whoa. Scream! That was like a little girl,
Bro, the lights, it's moving back again.
Wow, it just went.
You didn't hear that?
Yeah, the light just went.
It sounded like a spine cracking.
They consider exploring the room below, but a load of spiders prevents them. As they continue around the temple, on the ground they find a pile of burnt books and some cards laid out. 666. Another 6 is placed above, though Steve is unsure what it all means. As Andrew is messing about with an AM/FM radio, Steve feels something on his back. He says he feels like there's a spider there. He removes his coat so that Andrew can check it out. There is no spider, but 2 red marks streak across his back. The pair of scratches run from top to bottom, as if he's been branded. Steve says it burns, and also denies having scratched it on anything. They wonder if it's a Trinity mark. Some in the comments of this video suggest that he accidentally scratched himself when climbing under the chapel. Others think that it looks like 2 lashes from a whip. Brooklyn Girl 230, however, offers advice. Those mysterious scratches are a warning to you to stay far away from these places. Seems like the smartest conclusion to draw here. This unlucky fellow must have the strictest parents ever, because he's mowing his lawn in some pretty severe weather. A storm is rolling into St. Louis, Missouri, and things are about to get bad for him quickly.
Ellie, stay back.
Man!
His neighbor tells him to get inside, but he refuses. Apparently, he either doesn't know or doesn't care that pushing a big piece of metal under a bunch of trees is a recipe to attract lightning.
Hey, get inside!
Even after almost getting stuck, the defiant neighbor continues to mow his yard as the weather gets worse. That's when the person recording decides they are standing outside too and takes their own advice. This neighbor may have beaten out the elements this time, but I don't know how many storms they can weather before they learn their lesson the hard way. Definitely don't do what they do unless you want to wind up struck by lightning. The Adventures of Hamad Salhai has the keys to an apartment that is slowly being taken over by a powerful jinn. Once inside, he begins a ceremony with candles. I don't know if this is a summoning or a cleansing ritual, but I do know that what happens as a result is beyond creepy. First of all, the flame from the candle remains completely horizontal and still. Then his flashlight flickers with paranormal energy and the ceremony kicks into full swing.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
A door closes by itself, and when he opens the door back up, the ghost avoids a confrontation again.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Bismillah.
He relights the candle and goes inside the room to see what the ghost is trying to hide. These pictures adorn the walls, perhaps victims of the person whose ghost now haunts this apartment building. Or maybe just family members. He is pondering something out loud that I bet would give us more information about this room, so please translate if you can. A shadow figure in the corner makes him drop his only source of light, and now he is left in the darkness in the same room as the terrifying phantom figure. He runs out of the room fast and grabs a flashlight, no longer worried about using the ceremonial candles at the moment, but it won't let him leave, so he picks up the candles once more. This is what finally freaks him out. I think a ghost touches his shoulder, but help me translate to better understand.
استنوا شوي اطفي الشمع. اقول لكم والله ما نطفيه. السلام عليكم.
Don't let Randonautica take you to just any random place, or you might live to regret it. This video is a prime example of why.
Alright, going randonauting, and it took us to this shady park in the middle of nowhere, so let's see what we find.
I came across it on a Vietnamese YouTube channel. After doing some digging, I was able to track down the original source to the TikTok account at Haley_AIG. Watch this next part closely. Did you see it? Something just peeked out from behind that tree, but that's not all. After the group crosses the bridge, they see the Nightmare Girl plain as day.
I think we have to go over this bridge, and our location's a little down there. What the f***?
That would be enough to make me abandon this Randonautica mission, which the team actually considers doing.
What the f***? Should we keep going?
But they don't, and then this happens.
Why is she following us?
Although we can safely assume this is expertly composed fiction, that doesn't mean my soul didn't leave my body while watching this. When exploring the deepest depths of a mine shaft, the last thing you want to run into is the paranormal. Proving Demons claim their crew did just that. Publishing this video recently in May of 2019, the YouTube team writes, during a routine exploration of an abandoned mine shaft and railway tunnel, we saw something unbelievable as we turned a corner into a tunnel. The mine itself is creepy enough. You can hear water running and dripping. It's muddy, dark, and to put it simply, it's not a place you'd want to meet another being, passed away or alive. And about 17 minutes into the exploration video, it appears they do. A light can be seen in the dark distance.
What the heck is that? Is this a mine? Don't know. You guys, what the heck? Why is there a light down here? We can't walk through that. Is there noise there?
Why is there a light at the end of this mine shaft? Only the ghost holding its candle could answer that. The team doesn't stick around to find out, and who can blame them? The fact that a light was visible so deep in the mine gives me no other choice but to believe this is paranormal. Kazi is with Danny Dorito and Ali H to find evidence of a spirit that they think is haunting not just this house, but most of the surrounding forest as well. They come across a ritual that someone left behind for some reason, possibly in a hurry. They figure out how to complete it and hear a noise shortly after reciting these ancient words, which I'm hoping someone who happens to practice magic might be able to recognize and tell us more.
Rolf, Niap, Ro.
They decide to leave everything behind and are well on their way back home when something ahead interrupts their hike.
Hello? Holy, you saw that, right? You saw.
At 4 minutes, I can see what appears to be a normal pair of white tennis shoes that kind of looks out of place, so I'm not exactly convinced that this is real. This team is exploring the ranch of an alleged skinwalker. Published by KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas in April of 2022, the cameraman is quick to sense something lurking around them in the wilderness.
Ei, ei, ei! Vocês escutaram? Uma voz.
As they move on, they again sense something. Further along, they think they hear a sound and start to rush forward.
Meu Deus.
Still finding nothing, at last, they arrive at these abandoned ruins. While inside the ruins, they hear a noise again outside. Later, back out in the wilderness, their EMF meter is triggered. Whose energy are they sensing here?
Para o Perdive.
Obrigado, mano.
Quem que é você que chegou aqui perto?
Ó, atrás de mim agora.
Beleza, foca aí, foca aí, foca aí.
Again, someone or something is in the vicinity. Is it the Skinwalker? As day turns to night, paranoia kicks in. The legendary creature might be skulking anywhere in this forest. Should this team stick around to find out? I would have already been gone.
Fica junto, gente. Fica junto dentro. Pega o Lucílio, pega o Lucílio, pega o Lucílio. João, tá andando aí na frente, ó.
Did YouTuber Axis2527 just experience genuine poltergeist activity? This is what he captured while home alone.
Okay, this is Julian documenting something that's happened today. I've just came downstairs from studying and drawing all day. No one else has been home, and I just decided to go down and play Zelda in my basement because that's where my Wii is.
After heading downstairs, he sees this. Watch the stool.
Oh my. That chair just moved. I'm documenting this.
He rushes upstairs, and that's when he's shut in.
I just know I'm going upstairs.
He approaches the doorway and finds nothing there, but something is listening to him.
If there's anything here, I command you to shut the door.
A moment later, this happens.
Oh my. Let me out.
That's the end, and I believe he's been stuck in this liminal space for the last decade. Gary Reed Unfrequented World is the name of a YouTube channel that, at first glance, seems chock full of ordinary outdoor vlogs and entertainment. Gary goes on photography and metal detecting excursions, and generally enjoys hiking his large property in the northern Ontario wilderness, often accompanied by his loving family. But something threatens the tranquility of Gary Reed's Unfrequented World, a screaming cryptid deep in the woods that can twist trees in its powerful grasp. But more on that in a second. First, let me talk about Gary and why his observations matter more than the average YouTuber. Born in the small Ontario town of Redbridge, Gary Reed has been surrounded by woods his whole life. Aside from a lifetime of first-hand experience exploring the local lands, he also has a degree in environmental science and understands his surroundings on an advanced biological level. So when he says there is something out there that he can't explain, it probably means you or I can't either. His first encounter with it was at the age of 18 while staying in a cabin on Rabbit Lake, October 19th, 1994. That's when he heard a scream that sounded like a woman, but not quite. He describes the second scream as a wail, crescendoing into a howl, like nothing he's heard before. It ran through the entire camp, screaming from one side to the other, then it was gone. On April 30th, 2020, he heard it again.
That sucks. can hear screaming.
It sounds almost human, but not quite.
Gosh, this thing is still going on over here.
Here it is again with the audio turned up. I know foxes can make some weird noises, but this sounds like a person enraged. Camera in hand, he sneaks quietly towards the direction of the screaming to see what he can find. His trained eye detects a strange break in this tree, along with other trees that have been toppled over, all of them facing the same direction, like someone was running fast through the forest.
There's one there.
And next to the strange scene is a braided bunch that looks like something strong twisted it into this shape. Let me know if there is any other way for these branches to fuse together, if not by sheer force. The deeper he goes, the more it looks like something large has stomped through. Oddest of all are these large tracks left by what he suspects is a cryptid that walks upright.
Not mine.
It's clear to me that these are not your average boots.
Like toe prints in here. You can almost see the toes.
At 10 minutes and 25 seconds, he tries to trace an outline of its toes, but I think he's a little off. Here's where they begin in my opinion, much bigger. The next day he measured the results, and it reminds me of a certain cryptid with particularly big feet. I'm sure you know who I mean.
13¼ inches.
I think it's real, but just to throw out a counterpoint, I will say that rain from the day before could have eroded the snow and could have made an otherwise normal footstep seem much larger. Now let's switch over to some trail cams set up by Gary. This evidence, taken exactly a month earlier on March 3rd, is the most compelling of all. On March 7th, 4 days later, he and his neighbor hear another scream so shrill, it sounds like it belongs to a child. He hurries out the door and finds himself alone and vulnerable in the pitch black night.
I gotta turn the dish back on, I can hear whistling.
A pair of animal eyes look at him from behind, but I think it might just be the light reflecting off his glasses back into the camera. But I could be wrong, because when they check around the same area the next day, his dog becomes agitated and seems not to want to proceed any further. Something is definitely up ahead. Maybe they are getting close on its trail. Not that its trail is especially hard to find when it leaves a path of giant bent trees in its wake. Could nature have done this? Probably not. It looks like something huge reached up and pulled it down.
That's a pretty big one.
And half a minute later, he finds this tree with a branch literally twisted off and set back in place. This doesn't look like a normal break to me because the tree looks rather healthy.
It's about 8 feet. And it's got a good twist to it.
Here's another perfectly healthy tree with green leaves, this time ripped in half by something strong, or maybe simply struck by lightning. Either way, that doesn't explain what animal is responsible for doing this.
You can see the bark and you can actually see lines. Well, those are tooth marks. See all those little lines are tooth marks.
I don't know what it is, but I know that anything that shreds trees while screaming is too dangerous for me to be in the same forest as. And that's only what's been going on for the past couple months. There's over a year's worth of cryptid content to uncover, so I encourage you to watch Gary Reed Unfrequented World and see for yourself. In the meantime, leave me your best guess as to what's doing this. Maybe we can crack one of the weirdest modern unsolved mysteries in all of Ontario. According to the legend, there are many different ways to summon Bloody Mary, which means that the method you choose could change what happens to you. The person in this video uses a slightly different method that I've never seen before. Instead of spinning around 3 times and then saying Bloody Mary, she says Bloody Mary once after each spin. This is the end result. her face becomes smeared, and she quickly darts out of the room. If this video is real, then it appears that Bloody Mary somehow removed all of her facial features, perhaps as a warning. A paranormal team led by Derek Reese sits around the old family room of a haunted house in an undisclosed location. One of them must be sensitive to spirits because he asks them if they feel anything, and maybe he accidentally channels something into the room.
Oh my god, don't mess with me, please. No, I'm not.
You can see everyone except for one person when the knock happens, but her hands are in her lap under a pillow, so no, it's not her. Later on, they are looking at old videos when two visual artifacts appear. One is pink and one is green, and neither of them will go away no matter what they try. And that's when they hear creepy singing and a deep voice say something like, "Get away from the door." The audio is pretty low quality, but what do you hear? It's midnight when a YouTuber named Porter decides to go exploring some abandoned places near his house in hopes of capturing something scary on video. He and his friends have gone exploring these places in the past, and nothing's wrong before, but exploring abandoned places can always go wrong at a moment's notice, as he and his crew are about to discover. This urban exploration video is never meant to be a paranormal investigation, but soon they come across a tunnel that looks like it could be haunted. As they are exploring the tunnel, they come across a barrel that's been eaten away by corrosive chemicals. Large holes mark where a mysterious substance leaked out, and the old yellow caution tape they've caught on camera is a frightening moment to say the least. They should probably get out of there fast because, aside from being creepy and maybe haunted, the tunnel air is almost certainly not safe to breathe, at least not with this barrel around. They instead keep exploring until a cave-in doesn't allow them to go any further. They finally leave because the section they're in could collapse too, each of them passing by the mysterious barrel one more time on the way out. They wander through the scary woods for a while and eventually come across another eerie passageway that Porter decides not to explore because they're still creeped out about being too close to a possibly radioactive barrel or whatever that was. They should have gone back by now, but they've come all the way here to go exploring an abandoned building, and apparently not enough has gone wrong to make them stop.
We're gonna check out the other building for a little bit, that's it.
They approach the building, but something else grabs their attention, a mysterious hole in the ground.
No, we've already seen that, like during the day. It's like an entrance light. No, it's, oh no, I did not see that.
As they peer inside, all they find is more yellow caution tape and a putrid stench that makes them feel nauseous. They aren't sure what this place is, but it's clear to me that this opening was once covered by a manhole. This is an abandoned sewer pipe that's filled with toxic fumes from bacteria and industrial waste. They aren't feeling too good, but the building is right there, so they decide to take a quick peek. It's beyond creepy inside, and they are inching towards the back when this happens.
Huh?
Let's go.
A scary voice whispers at them in the darkness and the urban exploration comes to an end. Later, they try not to get caught making a video at the hospital. You can tell it's real because there's hospital equipment beeping and nurses talking in the background.
We had to come to the ER for Braden. Actually got in the car and recorded for a little bit. On the way home, he started to get a lot of pain like near his heart, so.
His friend is okay, but they aren't sure if it was from breathing chemicals or a ghost, and this video has gone about as wrong as it gets. A Russian YouTuber known as Tret shared a video online of him wandering around through a local forest equipped with a video camera. Because the video is in Russian, I'm not entirely sure what he is saying during the video, but I'm going to assume he is saying he is filming in the forest to see if he can capture anything of interest on camera. And if that is what he's saying, then he got exactly what he wished for.
Как-то мрачно, очень мрачно. Еще и в колодце что-то шипит. Может, ужик?
Wow. What the heck is that? It looks like a human face, but its eyes are glowing, and you can kind of see it almost looks like a skull with glowing eyes. And what the heck it's doing down here is a question I do not have the answer to. It looks like it's at the bottom of a well and notices that it's being filmed and just sort of looks straight up into the camera. That is just terrifying. And in classic fashion, the cameraman runs away immediately after seeing this, which is totally understandable given the circumstances. Instead of looking like some sort of paranormal entity, I personally think that this looks like some sort of skeleton because of the shape of its head, and I can almost make out some bones. Interestingly though, this skeleton-like creature seems to have dark glowing purple eyes, which would be strange considering how skeletons are not alive. So what exactly is this creature that Tret saw? As for now, it remains a mystery. Two friends are driving down a quiet stretch of California highway when they notice a man dressed in all black is standing in their lane with his back turned to them. What's weird is how he is standing on a well-lit highway close to the street lamps, yet not a single detail is visible. It's easy to see everything that's around him, but even the headlights of oncoming traffic are not enough to illuminate him whatsoever. I do agree with the uploader that this is strange, but I'm not sure if this means he is a spirit or not. Let me know if you think this was just a broken down motorist or an actual shadow person.
Alright, just like a quick check-in. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's doing it.
A TikTok video made by Kristen Parham has people wondering if she needs to call an exorcist or an electrician.
I'm not making this up. They're flickering again.
Some of the lights look brighter and flicker. It could be loose light bulbs rather than the spirit world, but the weird thing is sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. If you are an electrician, then let us know in your professional opinion whether she's being dramatic or if the worst is yet to come. This toy is supposed to sing the alphabet, but according to the description, it startles children with a deep voice instead. Even if this is happening just because the batteries are low, what's especially weird is the timing. This toy always seems to malfunction just before the last letter of the alphabet. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a deep voice saying something like, "Hey." This strange knocking happens at the same time every night and no other times during the day.
2:30 in the morning.
This is definitely no animal. Whoever is knocking wants to make its presence known and apparently wants to get in now, immediately. I can also hear a strange paranormal voice before they knock during this part. I don't think it's the television because you don't hear it during any other part of the video. He shows us the outside of the trailer, and clearly nothing is out of the ordinary. Yet when he returns indoors, so does the knocking from outside.
5 minutes has been doing it.
Hopefully whatever this is never gets the idea to try the door. This video was supposedly caught on a home residence security system. All of the rooms look normal until this possessed stuffed animal suddenly springs to life. I thought I could see a string at first, but it's clearly a cord that's plugged into the wall. On the other hand, this doesn't really look like actual CCTV footage at all, so maybe it's just a prank. Are children still at play in this haunted orphanage? Extinct File explores this abandoned place, and it looks like someone is watching them. First, they hear the sound of children, which sends one of them running. Their EMF meter captures some energy near the stairs.
Mira, 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 mira.
Soon after, their radios go off.
El mío también.
Later, another reading puts them on edge.
Aquí.
And while listening into the radio, they hear someone breathing.
No mames. ¿Qué pedo?
And then a voice. But it is this shocking evidence at the end that proves this place is truly haunted. Did you see that? Along with a strange groan, look at the doorway below. A shadow figure is watching. Who is this mysterious shadow? I think it's the spirit of a former orphan of this asylum. This clip calls into question whether or not there's life on Mars. According to Redditor GamersGen, this video was captured by NASA's Curiosity rover over Mars. On the 23rd of August 2012, GamersGen linked an AI-enhanced version in 4K to the post. The video is actually a series of photographs, so the rate at which it appears to fly is inaccurate. Regardless, the photo series shows an unknown flying device moving over the horizon of the planet's Barrett landscape. It flies to a point where it hovers overhead for a moment before moving off and out of sight. Well, of course, many call fake in the comments. Others claim it could be part of something larger. However, a Redditor throws down some math, noting that the rover supposedly takes a photo every 5 minutes. If this is the case, it's pretty unusual that nothing changed on the planet's surface, nor did the light or rover shift in that amount of time. Logical, but then again, X-Files advises us to trust no one. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Purgatory Adventures. This Redditor wrote, "Check out this crazy scream we captured while spending the night in a haunted location in Saskatchewan, Canada." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Kick it again. Yeah, I can see the lights.
See the lights, Kate?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lady Mania wrote, "I barely hear a scream. I only hear regular noises and the two people talking." Well, Corn TJE wrote, "Sounds like a cat in my opinion. Did you hear the scream the uploader is talking about? If so, what do you think is causing it? Let me know in the comments." This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know. Yeah.
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go?
RI, Public Radio International.
They walked in front of the car, right?
Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. A YouTuber named Victor Curry 30 is having a cake eating contest with oversized spoons. When one of them gets their utensil wedged deeply inside their mouth, they all find the situation somewhat amusing until they realize there's no easy way to pull it out of her mouth. What is especially troubling is how they have to shove the spoon even farther in so they can get the right angle for removal. It looks like she comes awfully close to not being able to breathe here. Chip Chen is the name given to a South Korean woman who was discovered by the website 4chan. They found her live stream one fateful day and proceeded to watch every moment of her life for years. What they found was both curious and startling. For one thing, Chip Chen would often pass out in strange positions for over 12 hours and then do things like barricade her door closed with whatever she could find. She rarely left the apartment and appeared to be in a lot of distress at all times. 4chan eventually came across her blog and found out that she thought she was being stalked by the local police. She even says that they have implanted a chip into her that allows them to control when she sleeps and how she feels. Here's a video of Chip Chen silently screaming as they supposedly activate her implant and mess with her mind. There's no evidence that any of what she is saying is real, and as of now, people either completely believe her story or else think that she has a serious mental disorder. It hasn't been on in a long time, but maybe someone can translate the text on her page and make sense of what she is saying. All in all, nobody has been able to track her down to talk with her, and her identity is unknown. All we know is that somewhere in South Korea, a woman was recording herself all of the time as a way of exposing her tormentors to the world. An urban exploration channel called Backyard Exploration has caught some scary stuff on video after taking a camera to an abandoned St. Louis mall. These scary moments caught on camera while exploring a dark movie theater in the mall have people wondering if this was a ghost, a glitch, or something else.
Horror movies. Nice.
The colors become scrambled at 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and again 4 seconds later, this time accompanied by an unnatural noise. I think this part was probably edited as a joke because he is looking at horror movie posters shortly before it happens. At least that's what I think. Does this video look paranormal to you? A YouTuber named Fauzi Ki Danaya of Pakistan has caught some creepy things on tape while exploring a haunted building that used to be a school.
तो ये मेरे लिए एक फ़ायदा है। ये भाई क्या मुसीबत है अंदर।
It doesn't take very long for the scary stuff to begin.
ये मेरे चला खैर इसको क्या आप जिन हो? ओए ला 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 ओए कैसी आवाज़ है यार ओए ला
His ghost meter detects a presence in this room shortly before the paranormal activity ramps up a lot and a window slams shut on its own.
रात में नहीं हुई इस जगह पे जो भी चीज़ मौजूद है ये कैमरा भी घूमे जा रहा है ब्लर क्यों हो रहा है बार बार क्यों ब्लर हो रहा है ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे
A final loud crash sends him running out of the building to see what's making all of the noise. All he finds is a stray cat outside, which he suspects is a shape-shifting jinn because no cat would walk towards all that commotion. I'm not so sure about all that, but I do think it's strange how this classroom is the only place where weird haunted things get caught on camera. Exploring the rest of the haunted school reveals no other paranormal activity, just whatever's by this window. So there's a YouTube channel called EB30X Fitness, 34 videos, 1-year-old account, not exactly the first place you'd go looking for paranormal content, but there's one creepy workout video they can't explain.
5, 6, 7. Did anybody see that orb fly behind Karen?
Orb.
Anybody see that orb?
A wavy light goes over his client, and he puts everything on hold to point it out. Honestly, it looks like a bug to me. He says it's a ghost caught on film though. I don't think they're doing this for publicity. It has less than 1,000 views, and their fitness studio Facebook page in Illinois already has 300,000 followers, so I think he's being sincere when he says it's a ghost orb. What do you think about this paranormal activity? It's pretty creepy, but like I said, maybe a bug. Emergency workers gather outside of a room where something terrible has happened and lives were possibly lost. As the camera zooms in, it catches a scary looking figure peering back at them, its neck twisted so many times that it has become long and thin. The closer they zoom in, the more facial detail I see. Its face is half shrouded in darkness, but I can see the eyes, and it has tall black hair, or maybe it's simply a crack in the wall. A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes, a vehicle pulls up, and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself, and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time the maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. When a shadow passes through your security footage, you know you're not alone. Posted by Lily Monique to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Lily shares that her uncle David and her father work for mall security. She writes, "This is what my dad and uncle caught on mall security cameras where they work in the middle of the night in the parking lot. The video shows David standing in the middle of the empty lot. He remains there in the light and no one at all is around, but then a shadow passes close to the camera, completely blocking him from view for a moment. It almost looks as if a figure glided directly in front of the security camera. If I were David, I'd be looking over my shoulder in that parking garage." Here, 8 Booth jumps from 129 feet in the air. If any part of his body had so much as graced the pier, then that would have been the end of 8 Booth, and that's assuming that he could have gotten out of the water in time. Ryan Prunty is certain their estate is haunted after this creepy experience in their attic happened. Let's take a look at what he and his friend caught on tape and see if it's really paranormal.
Steph, I think it's all good up here, dude. We're gonna explore a little further. No.
Bro, it's
Isn't
locked.
it funny, Bailey?
I'm not
Open
kidding,
the door,
bro.
Bailey.
It's locked.
Bailey, open the door.
Look.
What is that?
It doesn't look like the door got stuck by itself. At 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the locking mechanism has been turned into a horizontal locked position. Someone, either a ghost or one of their roommates, must have been on the other side. They force open the door, and less than a minute later, this mysterious orb guides them to another weird event. No one else is home, and yet they see wet footprints outside of the shower that lead to nowhere. Maybe one of them showered and left, but I think most people would pick up the towel first. It's a creepy video, but all of these ghostly encounters would be easy to fake with the help of a third person. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what they did. Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by I'm a Scared Child, this is how baby bed bugs react to human body heat. An old wooden chair is sitting in the middle of the room. This person gets down beside it and places their finger near a crack in the wood. Immediately, dozens of bed bugs stick their little heads out of the crack. Attracted to the heat coming from this human finger. The sight of this is honestly horrific. Many in the comments share their own horror stories about dealing with these vile insects. Some advise using diatomaceous earth on them, or even baking soda. But Redditor B-Cross sums our collective horror up, writing, "It's hard to put into word how evil these things are." I absolutely agree with that sentiment. Gabby and Amy are TikToking at their university, but the extra eerie all-white figure behind them steals the spotlight. I don't know if this is a guy creeping on them or what, but it doesn't move at all the whole time and looks really tall, coming up about halfway to the door behind. This could also be a statue, but it looks out of place and barely there, like it could vanish at any moment. These YouTubers are about to come face to face with a situation none of us would want to deal while out on the water.
Hey!
The boat would have practically cleaved him in half had he not paddled away at the last second, and as the other boat passes, you can see one person is facing the wrong way, and the other is absent-mindedly holding a fishing rod. Nobody is guiding the engine like they should have been. Everything is okay in the end, but like the YouTuber says, he wouldn't operate a car without looking where you're going, so you shouldn't drive a boat like that either. Let this be a lesson to look where you're going on the water, and if you're in a small paddle boat like he was, always be sure to look up when you hear an approaching engine. Dr. Lost Syndrome published this video in May of 2014, writing, "A little short video where Maskey gets some payback for the taggers ruining his hideout." The video follows a pair of teenagers in what looks to be an abandoned building in the wilderness. The building is full of graffiti, and one of the lads starts spraying some more over top of it. That's when they hear this strange noise. The first time they hear it, they brush it off. The second time, they start to wonder what's up. The camera is passed off to the dude, while the girl continues spraying in the room. The man heads outside, looking around the area and shouting hello. Hello? When there's no response, the two pass off the camera again, and then again, as the girl goes to check if there's anyone out there, while the man continues spray painting. After painting a bit, the man scans the graffiti in the room. That's when he arrives at the door to find Maskey outlined in the doorway. The masked man charges him and knocks him to the ground. It appears the man is knocked out cold. What is unclear is what Maskey did with his body. Maskey's revenge is certainly not something you would want to think about as you fall asleep at night, and trust me on that one. Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime, and this individual is just sitting out here, staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa?
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off. Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. This dashcam footage was taken from the Garland City Police Department. A police officer is chasing a car at high speeds when things suddenly go off-road. The car has turned into a dead end and is coming up on a chain link fence. It looks like the chase is over, but then this happens.
The fence at the end means no way out, or does it?
The car appears to have escaped through a solid chain link fence with no gate or any other type of opening to pass through. Every officer who has reviewed this footage has been completely baffled, and no explanation has ever been given. You can tell by the angle of the car's brake lights that it was driving straight the whole time and did not swerve around the fence. Somehow there's no signs of damage to the fence. It looks completely untouched. Redditor Wayne Bruce 11 was wondering why the TV was on in the morning and on a channel no one in the household ever watched. That's when he checked his security camera. It captured this at around 3 in the morning. Something has turned on the news. Well, I think this could definitely just be a connection or technical problem. The Redditor says they've been dealing with this ghost for 15 years. At least, the ghost's worst roommate faux pas is only late night TV watching. A paranormal photo from Gary, Indiana seems to have caught something strange on camera. The silhouette of a ghostly figure that seems intent on burning down the house that it's been caught in for years. Even the comments seem ominous, with one person simply writing, "I live right next to Gary, Indiana, and this isn't the first time something paranormal happened in that town." Almost like they're talking from experience. When somebody wants to know more stories, they never get a response. Almost like the person has already said too much stuff that outsiders were not supposed to hear. Who you gonna call? Likely this Russian YouTuber after watching this video. The YouTuber writes in Russian, "When I started the project, I did not even imagine that it would get such results. Thousands of your posts about missed moments in Ghostbuster." The YouTuber explains that in past videos that he's posted, subscribers have found paranormal looking figures in the abandoned buildings he's explored. He ghost busts a couple of these myths, showing that looks can be deceiving. Looks to be a white figure beyond in the shadows of a darkened room. Dima explains that it was actually 2 pieces of white paper taped to the wall. However, he admits that other experiences do stump him. In one estate, something dark appears to be sliding slowly up a doorway in a room beyond. He concludes that it was either a bat rather than something paranormal, or that considering the estate is in the middle of Moscow, something else was on the premises and stuck their hand around the corner to see if he'd notice. Lastly, while exploring an estate, a ghost is seemingly captured peering from under the archway of a room. At this point during his exploration, Dima admits that a chill ran through his entire body. This one appears to stump Dima, and he asks his viewers if they want him to return to this place and try and recreate the scene and its circumstances to figure out once and for all what happened here. Do you want to know? Or do you think the undead are best left undisturbed? Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? posted in April of 2020. This footage shows you can run, but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place, with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time. After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. This highly active haunted house is scaring YouTuber Dark Arts TV more than ever before. The place looks lived in.
But then I kind of feel like someone's been living up here as well. But I don't think there is. I don't think there's anyone. I think it's just, you know, more clutter just stacked up. But yeah, it's definitely eerie place. 100%.
They speak to the spirits that haunt the home through a spirit box.
Was you banging upstairs before? Something murder. Murder? Wow, it doesn't seem like a murder joint, is it?
It sounds like it said something about ending a life, then the spirit gets kind of handsy.
Did you just talk to Sam? What?
Mate, it felt like someone touched me again then.
Really?
Mate, it felt like someone touched my neck.
No way.
Mate, mate.
Then it really freaks them out.
What the was that, bro? Rainbow's going off.
Mate, did you hear that? It was like, this is mine.
Yeah, bro.
This is mine.
It was like it was building up then and then you moved.
Did you not feel anything?
It continues to touch them.
Mate, it's like some... No, I'm in!
Oh my god.
Oh, the rip on.
Someone just grabbed my hand.
This isn't good.
Who keeps trying to hold their hands, although I think it may be a ghost. Whatever it is seems to be getting more aggressive. Meow has a natural ability to communicate with the paranormal that she intends to explore to the fullest on her ghost hunting channel by the same name.
Guys, to turn on the flashlight that's next to me. Please. Do you think you can do that? How many of you were married when you... Okay. I don't like that. That's scary.
At 17 seconds, she appears to feel a presence draw near, and when she looks over her shoulder a second time, the flashlight is on. It doesn't look like anyone is nearby, at least nobody who is alive. The object just turns on by itself like a ghost touches it.
Turn the flashlight on.
They aren't interested in answering any more questions and simply turn the flashlight off without further interaction. Maybe they just wanted to let Luna know that they were here, watching. During a different investigation, Luna and some friends try to summon a spirit, and it just might have worked.
Oh, look at it, look at it.
Thank you. You know other people are here, aren't you? Don't you?
Does it really make you happy? Sorry.
But perhaps the creepiest video of all comes from the Omen House in Beverly Hills, California. This is where a nefarious group gained access to a famous celebrity's home, and she did not last against them for long. Their paranormal equipment detects the motion of a spirit nearby, though it could be detecting the movement of this ghost hunter picking up the K2 meter at 5 seconds. Still, if you look very closely, the K2 meter detects a spike of paranormal energy at the same time the motion sensors go off, and shortly thereafter this mysterious blue light sweeps across the room that they all swear was not a flashlight. I have my doubts about this, until one of the team bangs a shelf and jumps up and down to demonstrate that all of the items on this shelf are stable, but as soon as he walks away, this object falls over by itself, something which apparently happens all the time.
Want to show them one more time? A final goodbye before they all leave? Or are you just gonna keep doing this? They're gonna jump.
The same exact object falls over all by itself. On one hand, the same object moving twice could be a sign of a ghost manipulating objects at will, but on the other hand, maybe this toy is simply unbalanced and falls over on its own a lot. Still, the fact that it happens while he is walking away seems to suggest that this is the work of a ghost with selective intelligence who wants attention. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.